The following is an exclusive presentation of the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the AHSAA Radio Network.
Hey everybody, and welcome back into Inside the AHSAA. I'm your host, Luke Robinson. Thanks so much for being with us today. Got a great show lineup for you. Got Seth Hagan on from Raycom Sports. He's going to be on to talk a little bit about the Thompson Warriors. Also going to have Jimmy Stein on. He's a good friend of mine from down in the Mobile area. We do a podcast together, and he knows a lot about recruiting in the state of Alabama. That's going to be all today on Inside the AHSAA. We'll be back in just a minute.
What's behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
No, wrong! Bring it in, guys! Take a knee! Let's go over this again. Who starts off with a real Coke taste? Coca-Cola! And then Coca-Cola pitches the real Coke taste to who? Coca-Cola! How is Coca-Cola gonna give a real Coke taste to itself? Take a lap, genius! Coca-Cola takes a snap and then pitches the real Coke taste to Coke Zero running up on the right. You got it? Yeah! At that point, we fake punt the real Coke taste. Who fakes the punt?
Coke Zero Cola.
Take a lap! Coke Zero! Real Coke taste!
0 calories!
Hunter Price is Coosa County's Alpha Insurance agent and has the knowledge to help you with all your auto, home, and life insurance needs. With Hunter and Alpha Insurance, you have a team of professionals to access your needs, save money, and give you the personal one-on-one service in your time of need. Visit our main branch in downtown Rockford or call us at 256-377-4955 for all your insurance needs.
Call Alpha. We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world, where families discover nurses and doctors as excellent as any in the state, and the embrace of world-class care is as close to home as a trip to the grocery store, where the continuity of care isn't lost in exhausting miles of road, but just down the street. We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world.
Hey everybody, and welcome back into Inside the AHSAA. I'm your host, Luke Robinson. Want to welcome in now Seth Hagan with Raycom Sports. He gets to follow around the Thompson High School football team a lot, and it's a good year to do that, as Thompson is one of the more highly decorated teams in the state of Alabama in 7A this year, and really just throughout the state. Seth, how you doing today?
Doing good, Luke. How about you?
Doing great. Listen, thanks so much for being with us today. Thompson High School, one of the hotter schools in the state of Alabama right now, and they're led by, I'm hoping I'm saying this right, Talia Tagovailoa. Is that correct?
That's one of the better ones I've heard. Tagovailoa is what I'm hearing a lot around here, but yeah, you're right. They are one of the biggest surprises of the year, and I mean their offense is simply astounding. Talia actually leads the entire state with over 1,300 passing yards so far, and that's in large part due to his new receiver, Ahmad Edwards, a transfer from Montevallo, who already has over 700 yards in just 4 games. That's good for a $175 a clip. And get this, he has not caught less than 10 catches in every single game this season. It's absolutely unbelievable and very prolific.
Well, considering Tagovailoa is also a transfer from Hawaii, and then this young man that you just brought up, the wide receiver, is also a transfer. I mean, really, we've seen a lot of transfers do very well at various high schools all over the state of Alabama. I know Hillcrest has a few. I know that Hoover's had some in the past. It's been one of those things where teams can benefit from other players transferring from other schools.
No doubt. It's just a perfect marriage, really. I was talking to Coach Freeman, and he just thinks that it's a perfect blend between those two guys coming in and the guys that he had already been developing up through the program the last couple of years. kids like Kyle Smoke, another wide receiver. They just really have an embarrassment of riches all of a sudden in that wide receiving core, and they also believe that they can run the ball very well. And I mean, they've just been putting up a ton of points. So you're right. I mean, if these kids can find a better situation and a better team, then almost like college ranks, why not let them? And you can see they're prospering.
I said Hillcrest and I meant Hewitt-Trustful, but sometimes I get those two confused for whatever reason. But I want to go back to Thompson for a second. Another kid that's on that team is the son of Thomas Raycom, who played at Alabama, very famously blocked a field goal attempt from a Penn State kicker back in the late 80s. And this kid's playing very, very well, too, and he's picked up some big offers lately.
Yeah, he's another one of those kids that Freeman has been bringing up. And, I mean, it's incredible just how things have kind of come together right at the perfect moment. And we already know from last year that Thompson was hanging with Hoover, hanging with other teams. Despite the 5-5 record last year, nobody really wanted to play Thompson once they got rolling there at the end of the year.
Thompson's got a pretty arduous schedule coming up as well. I know they've got Pelham this week, who's been on fire. They also have Spain Park in the next coming weeks, and of course they play Hoover a little bit later on. How do you feel like they stack up with this slate that's coming up?
You're right. It is a very tough slate, but I got to tell you, I mean, the defense has been fantastic, and I've already told you about the offense, extremely prolific. They've got options all over the field, and so I feel very good about the chances. They hung with Hoover last year. Talia had a big showing, along with his receivers, against Hoover in 7-on-7s over the summer. So they're not scared of Hoover, and they're coming for them. And of course, with Coach Freeman coming from Spain Park, and they're very familiar with that level of play. And I just have a lot of confidence in them right off the top because they're working these boys hard in practice. And it's showing up on game film. I mean, it's really something special to watch.
Off air, you mentioned the term dark horse for Thompson. I don't really consider them a dark horse anymore.
Right.
In fact, I may put them as the favorite right there with Hoover and Hewitt-Trustful as the favorite in 7A. What do you think?
Oh, I think you'd be very wise to make that statement. I mean, it really is a toss-up this year between those three programs. All three teams can score, play good defense, and they got players, highly recruited players as well. But Thompson, they play with an edge and a chip on their shoulder because a lot of their kids are not highly ranked in the recruiting services and didn't get much love preseason individually. So I think that the motivation factor is certainly there for them to go and take a shot at the king at Hoover. And I cannot wait for this October slate because it's going to be just an incredible month of football coming up.
Yeah, it certainly is an incredible month coming up, I should say, the month of October. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We wait all summer for the high school season to get here, and it seems like we have just run through these first 4 or 5 games, and we're halfway through the season practically.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we really do wait so long, and the time seems to go by so slowly in those dog days of summer. But now that we're here, it is flying past us, and before we know it, it's going to be the playoffs in November. But I think it's just as fans and as guys in the media like you and me, it just kind of teaches us to cherish the moment because I mean these are just special times where we can appreciate the student athletes and the efforts that they put out on the field to not only get things done in the classroom but obviously on the field.
Well, Seth, thanks so much for being with us today. Best of luck to you and best of luck to the Thompson Warriors the rest of the way, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Absolutely. Appreciate the time, Luke. Seth
Hagan with Raycom Sports. Really appreciate his time, and he is following one heck of a football team this year. We'll be back in just a minute with more of Inside the AHSAA.
Team is not something you do alone. Team is plural. Team is arms, legs, blood, sweat, and soul. A lot goes into team. but what we take away stays with us forever.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
More heart.
More drive. More will.
More guts.
More sweat.
More dedication.
More practice. More control.
More clutch.
More hard work.
More fun.
More family.
More love.
More basketball.
Baseball.
College tennis.
More every day.
More everything. More
to come.
More Wilson.
There is a strength inside you, unknown and imperfect, waiting. And when you think you have nothing left to give, when each obstacle in your path is more formidable than the last, that's when you'll find it. And with that strength, your greatness will have no limits.
Take a knee. Let's go over this again. Who starts off with a real Coke taste?
Coca-Cola!
And then Coca-Cola pitches the real Coke taste to who?
Coca-Cola!
How is Coca-Cola going to give a real Coke taste to itself? Take a lap, genius! Coca-Cola takes a snap and then pitches the real Coke taste to Coke Zero running up on the right. You got it?
Yeah!
At that point, we fake punt the real Coke taste. Who fakes the punt?
Coke Zero Cola!
Take a lap! Coke Zero! Real Coke taste!
0 calorie!
Where there's action, there's Encore. Professional. Responsive. Dedicated. Encore Rehabilitation.
There is a strength inside you, unknown and imperfect, waiting. And when you think you have nothing left to give, when each obstacle in your path is more formidable than the last, that's when you'll find it. And with that strength, your greatness will have no limits.
We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world, where families discover nurses and doctors as excellent as any in the state, and the embrace of world-class care is as close to home as a trip to the grocery store, where the continuity of care isn't lost in exhausting miles of road, but just down the street. We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world.
Welcome back into Inside the AHSAA. Luke Robinson here with you again. And I want to bring on my good buddy Jimmy Stein. He does a podcast with me called Talking Tuscaloosa, where we talk about all things regarding the University of Alabama. But he is also a very well-known recruiting aficionado. He has kept up with recruiting way before it was cool. And I wanted to get his thoughts on the way some of the kids are playing at different universities that have been a part of the AHSAA in the past. Not necessarily at Alabama or Auburn right now, but some kids that were a part of the AHSAA here in the last few years and that have gone on to Florida or LSU or wherever and have begun to star, because a lot of these names you will certainly be familiar with. Jimmy, how are you doing today?
Good. Doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
Sure, and the first name that jumps out to me, and this is a guy that had a great game this past weekend for the Florida Gators, and that's Kadarius Toney. You loved him during the recruiting cycle last year. I thought he was a great player as well. I thought maybe the in-state guys overlooked him a bit, but Florida jumped on him early, and they loved him throughout the process, and now he's doing big things for the Gators.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Kadarius that affected his recruiting so much, Luke, is number one, he's a guy that probably projected at wide receiver or defensive back. That's probably his best spot. But he primarily played quarterback at Blount High School and put up fantastic PlayStation-level numbers playing quarterback, throwing it, running it. I mean, this is a kid that threw for something like 3,000 yards, rushed for another 800 or 900 against a really tough 6A schedule. He was a really good athletic prospect. I think all the questions came is he a quarterback? Because this is a guy, when you're an athletic quarterback that can really run, and you're 6 foot tall or less, you're going to get pegged as a wide receiver defensive back. That's just kind of the way it's been. And I think it really affected his recruitment because Kadarius really wanted a shot at quarterback. And Florida was so enamored with his athleticism. Florida was one of the few big schools to give him an opportunity to play quarterback, and I think that's why he ended up there. I think as far as the in-state schools, Alabama doesn't really play an offense that would fit his skill set as a quarterback, but I kind of thought, based on Auburn's success with the Nick Marshall-type offense, that Kadarius might be a great fit at Auburn, but for whatever reason, I don't think they were interested, and he's gone to Florida and has obviously been a high-impact true freshman taking snaps at quarterback, but primarily just moving around and just using his athleticism in different ways.
Let me talk about another guy from down in your neck of the woods, and that's Velus Jones. He went to USC out of Saraland. Of course, he had Jack West throwing to him when Jack West was a sophomore. But Jones, I saw make some very nice returns for the USC Trojans against Texas a couple of weeks ago. He's starting to make a name for himself.
Yeah, he was always a pretty good prospect. I thought it was really interesting when he signed with USC because Velus Jones didn't exactly get a ton of SEC offers. It was like, here's a kid from inside the state that's getting some national interest in some national programs, but the regional programs were never too enamored with him. I don't think Velus had offers from Alabama or Auburn, but then he gets these great Power 5 offers, and it wasn't just USC. He's done well. He's probably, I'm sure the knock on him coming out of high school wasn't the biggest guy. He's not really tall. He's kind of a wiry guy. He runs really well. But he's not a 4-4 type guy, or he certainly wasn't when he left Saraland. But what his best skill set to me, his best traits, he did a great job of just getting open. I mean, that guy was always open. It just seemed like his entire high school highlight tape is one highlight or another of him just being wide open, catching balls, hitting him in the chest. He's had good quarterbacks. Both of his quarterbacks he played with under Saraland were Division I signees, one to Lafayette and now Jack West to Stanford. But Velus was always very solid, very productive high school player. He caught a bunch of balls for a bunch of yards, and I think he went to USC with the understanding of how to get open, and when he gets open, he catches the ball. He doesn't drop it.
Another guy that's from down in the Mobile area, and that's Neil Farrell. Another big player that LSU targeted early, and he stayed with that commitment. He's been playing a lot as a true freshman. Are you a little surprised by that?
No, not at all. I was very high on Neil Farrell I really thought he was underrated pretty much by everyone across the board. It's not that he was completely off the radar because several big programs had offered him, but when you think about it, Luke, here's a guy in Mobile, Alabama, less than 4 hours from LSU, less than 4 hours from Florida State, less than 4 hours from Auburn. They all offered. So most of the big programs close to Neil Farrell did want him, and he chose LSU over Florida State. And gosh, you talk about two programs that have great reputations for developing defensive linemen. To me, it was like, why hasn't the recruiting industry noticed that two defensive line powerhouses are fighting over this kid from Mobile? Because it got pretty intense between LSU and FSU before Neil decided to stick with his original commitment and go to LSU. But he's a guy of more than adequate SEC size, mass, and quickness who was extremely productive at high school. The knock on a lot of big kids, Luke, is always, their motor. Do they go hard on every play? Here's a kid playing 7A football that's got like 15 sacks a year. I mean, his motor just could not be questioned. He got after it, and I think playing hard all the time against a really good schedule is what prepared him to go to LSU and play early as a true freshman.
I could certainly go down several other names here. Obviously, Ty Pigram, who was looking like a fantastic starter for the Maryland Terrapins out of Clay Chalkville. He goes down with a knee injury, unfortunately. Could talk about Will Ignat, who's played some for Tennessee. Nico Collins, also from Clay Chalkville. He looks like he may get some playing time with Michigan having some receiver issues with injuries now. But the one guy I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to keep bringing him up until really I just can't bring him up anymore, and that's Keith Mixon at Mississippi State. This is a guy that I thought Alabama and Auburn really glossed over, and he's now with the Bulldogs, and he had a great game against LSU. Didn't have a great game against Georgia, but nobody for State did. But I think this is a guy that can be a star in the SEC.
Oh, he's such a playmaker. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. A guy that would I think one thing would be very interesting is playing wide receiver at Mississippi State and doing a fantastic job. You can't help but think if they had played him on defense that he'd probably be a really good cornerback. But I like Keith Mixon a lot. I know you loved him. Not the biggest kid, but his skill set is fantastic. I just felt Keith Mixon would be a really good college player. Dan Mullen's such a good coach at Mississippi State. I feel this way almost it seems like every time Mississippi State takes a kid from Alabama, it's always a kid I really, really like. I mean, Mississippi State has done a very good job. I've always felt, Luke, that the state of Alabama does produce more high-quality Division I athletes than you would think. I've always felt there's a great opportunity for someone from the SEC to be the third school in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
And by that, I mean, which program takes the kids at Alabama and Auburn? It was just really close calls for them, and maybe they weren't quite what Alabama and Auburn are looking for. I think under Dan Mullen, Mississippi State's kind of become that school that does the best job of picking up the kids that Alabama and Auburn pass on after evaluating them for a long period of time. And Mississippi State, a lot of them end up in Mississippi State. I think most of the kids they have from Alabama look for a wide receiver over there that's a redshirt freshman named Reginald Todd from Mobile, who was a great high school basketball player at LaFleur. I think he's going to have a nice career at Mississippi State. He's still learning football, still figuring it out. Spent most of his high school career just playing basketball, but he's a 6'4" kid who can really run. He's got a lot of skills. I think much like Keith Mixon, Reginald Todd will have a good career at Mississippi State by the time it's all said and done.
Well, Jimmy, thanks so much for your time today, buddy. We really appreciate it. We'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
Thanks, Luke.
That was Jimmy Stein, good buddy of mine, and again, we do a podcast together. We have known each other for quite some time, and he has been into recruiting since well before I knew him. But he certainly has his finger on the pulse of all things AHSAA when it comes to recruiting. We're going to be back in just a minute with more of Inside the AHSAA.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, SignSource has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization, wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat, full-color banners for your big sale, or a photo collage on canvas for grandma, all with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com, 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
No, wrong! Bring it in, guys! Take a knee! Let's go over this again. Who starts off with a real Coke taste?
Coca-Cola!
And then Coca-Cola pitches the real Coke taste to who?
Coca-Cola!
How is Coca-Cola going to give real Coke taste to itself? Take a lap, genius! Coca-Cola takes a snap and then pitches the real Coke taste to Coke Zero running up on the right. You got it?
Yeah!
At that point, we fake punt the real Coke taste. Who fakes the punt?
Coke Zero Cola!
Take a lap! Coke Zero! Real Coke taste!
0 calorie!
June will mark 10 years of providing quality t-shirts, athletic uniforms, and promotional products for Lee Apparel. Our success is due in large part to the customers we serve in the Lake Martin community and the great state of Alabama. Our hopes are for many more years of success and growth. Contact Lee Apparel today at 256-825-0197 or on the web at leeapparel.com.
What's behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
Where there's action, there's Encore. Professional. Responsive. Dedicated. Encore Rehabilitation.
Team is not something you do alone. Team is plural. Team is arms, legs, blood, sweat, and soul. A lot goes into team. But what we take away stays with us forever.
Hunter Price is Coosa County's Alpha Insurance agent and has the knowledge to help you with all your auto, home, and life insurance needs. With Hunter and Alpha Insurance, you have a team of professionals to access your needs, save money, and give you the personal one-on-one service in your time of need. Visit our main branch in downtown Rockford or call us at 256-377-4955 for all your insurance needs.
Call Alpha.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the AHSAA. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll catch you again next week.